Venus, open your arms.
Welcome back to my dark corner of this sick world.
This is 1975.
Doomsday Machine starts with a spy using a cat to get into a top-secret building. With the help of an undercover mole, she takes pictures of a Chinese doomsday device.
I have all I need.
Then leaves, begging the question, why didn't the mole take the pictures and just chuck the camera over the wall?
Nothing's that simple.
We then join the crew of the first manned flight to Venus,
$10 billion worth of taxpayers' money, and we got to put up with clowns.
who don't really get on. So, good news.
You are to replace 3 of your crew with 3 other officers.
Women? Now I've heard everything.
Tiny overreaction.
Personally, I think you're out of your minds.
Not all the men are against women being on board. I'm going to spend this whole movie with my head in my hands.
So in case the world did end, they figured a few people like you and me could do a rerun on Adam and Eve?
For the record, this was made 4 years after Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space.
In my country, women follow the same professions as men.
Okay, it's also capable of making a progressive point.
Don't you miss being a woman?
Moving on, the crew settle in.
Love your homemade water.
Well, that's disgusting. But the women have been brought on board for a reason.
Chinese are at it again.
That doomsday device we saw earlier.
Those chopstick jockeys couldn't come off with a planet buster, could they?
Oh, you guys are killing me. But that is the fear. So,
The president had to act before the Astra was launched.
sure enough, partway through their journey,
What is it?
My God. They did it.
It's happened.
well, that's that. I guess we'll put everyone's car keys in a bowl.
In other words, we've been paired off on a latter-day Noah's Ark.
You say paired off, but there's 4 men and 3 women.
May an older man offer something?
Apparently not.
What the hell do you find amusing?
But the old guy may be in luck, because one of the crew is generic B-movie antagonist,
You know it has to be sooner or later. Why don't we make it sooner?
who, even though the girls don't have a lot of choice, what with the fate of the human race and all, still feels the need to force the issue.
You're an animal.
Which ends badly. Actually, kind of convenient because, for complex reasons, only 3 of them will be able to land on Venus.
What are we gonna do?
At which point you'd have to say the human race was doomed.
Doomsday? Get him.
So far, I'd say this was an interesting story, told in a way that feels 10 years out of date, even for 1967 when it was made.
Lousy.
But when it was made was not when it was released.
Come on, everybody. What's all the big surprise about?
The production ran out of money and it wasn't finished until 1972 with a different director.
Colonel, this is ridiculous. It's absolutely insane.
This is a problem because in the intervening years, the general public had become much more knowledgeable about space travel thanks to the moon landings and were better able to call bullshit.
For the love of... increase the gravity.
Right.
Also, by 1972, they had the money, but not the actors.
I don't believe it.
At the climax, approaching Venus, 2 astronauts sacrifice themselves to save the others, but discover an abandoned Soviet ship they can use to land.
It's a miracle! A beautiful floating miracle!
Once they're inside, however, we no longer see their faces and their voices change.
Georgie, it's Russia.
In fact, Conrad Bronsky loses her accent.
Don't give up, Dan. Keep trying.
But they can't keep this up after they land, as the original script demanded, so...
We are the collective minds of this world your craft now orbits.
the tone of the film changes somewhat.
Something very strange and very great awaits you beyond the rim of the universe. And now, last of man, your journey will begin.
I want to mock it, but I don't know what other choice they had, and this is way more lucid than most cobbled together films.
There must be worse fates, Colonel.
Utter nonsense though that ending is, it's not what bothers me most about Doomsday Machine.
There must be a practical side to having women along.
You mean like having your socks washed?
Unbelievable.
Why don't you shut up?
Thanks for watching. Doomsday could be tomorrow, so subscribe now. We've reviewed a few of these films that were finished at a later date, and this is definitely the best so far as it still retains a clear storyline. But do you know of any better? Let us know in the comments below.
I want to live!